Today I'm feeding my microscopic pets, leech-resembling wheelbearers, a yummy snack of yeast. They're my tiny sawmill-mouthed friends that come from a much larger tank full of many more sawmill-mouthed friends. They spend their time chomping on bacteria and algae particles, carried closer by the impressive whirring of hair-like cilia on their corona. No, not the virus nor the beer, it means crown in Latin. So, let's get into the process. I've got my jar of rotifers right here. These little Bdelloid Rotifers are moving around, pausing sometimes to sense the surroundings, and feasting on bacteria, algae and other organic matter. General Bdelloid Rotifer things. I start by grabbing some yeast from the kitchen. Nothing crazy, it's the same stuff you'd use to make bread. But today it's rotifer food. They're in the form of these small pellets. Let's have a closer look under the microscope and wow, what a difference it makes looking at things closer. These seemingly brown and dull pellets are sparkling under the light. I'm tapping out a tiny pinch, less than a quarter of a teaspoon, because a little goes a long way on the scale and I don't want the balance of the ecosystem being thrown off. Next, I add a small amount of water from their jar to the spoon. This keeps conditions familiar, avoiding any shock to the system that tap water would give. I stir it gently until it clouds up a bit, creating a nice suspension of yeast particles. You don't want clumps. The rotifers need it dispersed so that their cilia can pull it in. Pretty much most things organic up to 10 micrometers is fair game for a rotifer that's busy filter feeding. Now I take a dropper and suck some of this yeasty mix to inspect closer. Zooming in under the microscope, you can see this one zooming around. Its corona spinning like tiny propellers, leaving evidence of their presence in the way they disrupt the suspension. Their sawmill mouths get to work, pulling in then grinding down those yeast cells with their jaws like little lumberjacks, well, fungus jacks in this case. Now of course this solution has a very high concentration of yeast particles, but they'll spread out and disperse even more when I add it to the rest of the jar. And that's exactly why I did this on a spoon. It makes it way easier to add and then just gently mix into the jar. This yeast feast gives them a boost of nutrients, supplementing the bacteria and algae that they're already munching on. It's not their main source of food, it's more like a treat for them, but it will help keep the population thriving. In a day or two, as they polish off the leftovers, I'll check back and perhaps I'll add more if they're still craving it, but for now, they're set. These tiny wheelbearers are low maintenance. You don't even have to bother with yeast. They mostly eat algae and bacteria, but they will happily eat yeast too. Watching them chow down just never gets old, and I'll actually do this sometimes just to watch the cool swirling of the particles. Thank you so much for watching.